What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Around the Monitor, the weekly gaming news talk show where every point you make in the discussion is a point towards winning. I'm your host, Zach. The way things work here, we talk through the week's news in gaming. Every time somebody makes a point or an actual funny joke, I give them an actual point, and then whoever has the highest score at the end of the show wins for that week. Joining me once again is the world's #1 Psychonauts 2 fan. It's David.
I'm having a good week, y'all. I played so much goddamn Psychonauts 2.
Joining us for the very first time ever, formerly of GameSpot, currently of Framework, it is Tony Wilson.
Hello. Hi, thank you so much for having me. I didn't bring any like fun facial accessories. I mean, I wear a headband, so I got that going for me.
Yeah, that counts.
I too played Psychonauts recently. In fact, I did a video essay on the original one recently. Those are some just impeccable games.
Tony, where can people find a video essay that you made about such a game?
Sure. So I run a video essay channel called Framework. I try to keep a positive channel that does really in-depth critiques on games. Done a bunch of them at this point, so hopefully there's one you like, and if not, check it out. Anyway, and I don't know, maybe learn something. I learn something every time I make one. But so the channel's called Framework. Easiest way to get there is tinyurl.com/frameworkyt. YT is in YouTube. It's also on Twitter at framework_video. And my personal Twitter, if you care to follow that, is at chaingunpope. Them's there, all the plugs.
And if you're watching on YouTube, you can find those links below this video.
Exactly.
If you're listening on Spotify, I don't know if we can put links on Spotify.
No, we can't. Joining us once again, we also have the Prophet of Kermit. That's Chris.
This is going to be in shot. It's Thursday. You know what that means.
We surely do. And last but not least, the hockey sticks and sickle herself. That's Elise.
Your girl pulled Raiden in Genshin Impact, and I'm pretty happy about that.
Don't know what that means, but I assume it's good. But folks, if this is your first time watching or your first time participating, we always start this show with a trivia question to determine the order for it. This week's trivia question, speaking of games with absolutely ridiculous crossover potential, Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl.
Not what I thought you were going to say. They're going to say Fortnite.
Nope. Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl currently, this week just had the official box art revealed. I believe it was by Walmart or some online retailer. My question to you all is, using the box art combined with the officially announced characters so far, how many characters do we know are going to be in Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl?
18.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, it's a shitty question, I know, but it's so speculative.
No,
it's funny.
The son of a bitch was at Chris, because that's the number I was just about to say.
Oh, what did Chris say?
18.
18. Oh, okay.
19.
Oh.
You know what? Fuck you, Chris. 17.
Oh.
Is this Price is Right rule, or are we just going closer?
If you're even, if you're like equally wrong or equally right, I guess is what I meant to say, then it's Price is Right rules, just to break the tie.
Okay. I'm gonna go a nice even dozen. 12.
Dozen. Okay. Tony lowballing.
Yeah.
The correct answer is in fact 20. Which I believe, the correct order then will be Elise, followed by Chris, followed by David, followed by Tony. Let's talk about this week's topics. We've got Marvel's Midnight Suns. That is the new Marvel's game being made by Firaxis, creators of XCOM. Had a gameplay reveal, and folks, it's divisive. Tokyo Game Show 2021 will be the first showcase to have a VR version, which does mean if you have a VR headset that is compatible, you can visit the show floor in person. Well, not in person, but you know what I mean. Speaking of Tokyo Game Show, they will include an Xbox showcase with quote-unquote exclusive news. Can Xbox ever possibly win over the Japanese market somehow? A Life is Strange TV series is in works with Shawn Mendes overseeing the music for that series. Naughty Dog's leaders spoke about crunch, saying, quote, "There is no one solution." NetEase is in final negotiations to poach Yakuza creator from Sega. Will this kill the franchise? The title of the stream and probably the YouTube video, hashtag ADayOffTwitch lowered the viewer totals from 4.5 million to 3.5 million. We'll talk about how impactful that is and what is the actual reasoning behind this movement, because we missed the last couple weeks of gaming news. More high-profile departures from Twitch to YouTube as Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo leave for YouTube. What does that mean for the platform as well? Activision Blizzard has been accused of suppressing evidence in the discrimination lawsuit, which has been ongoing for, feels like forever at this point. Norman Reedus says that another Death Stranding game is, quote, in negotiations. How excited are we all for Death Stranding 2?
Will Crosby absolutely in shambles.
Fortnite has introduced March Through Time, an in-game museum to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And, did they pull that off flawlessly or not? We'll have opinions about that. And finally, Halo Infinite will drop December 8th with no campaign co-op or Forge mode. And do we think that is a... well, of course it's detrimental, but I suppose detrimental in a way that will ultimately affect the way we perceive that game and its launch. Elise, you're up first. What would you like to talk about for the first topic of the show?
Blizzard
Activision?
perjury.
Yeah.
Or I guess we don't want to get sued, so allegedly committing
Allegedly, exactly.
Great word.
If you haven't been following the news, the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard a couple weeks ago. I think it was like a month and a bit ago. Basically saying that along with a culture of horrendous sexual harassment, sexual, like in some cases, sexual assault, and women not being able to get promotions and get fair employment. A huge lawsuit. It was like 34 pages of allegations and like things that they're going to be legislating against.
And again, this is not from just anybody. This is from the state of California.
Yeah, exactly. This seems so far like a pretty airtight case. And the news for this week, this came out August 25th, is that Activision burned some documents that may allegedly and burned some documents that would have been useful to the Department of Fair Employment
in this lawsuit. Yeah,
in this lawsuit, which is perjury.
Real quick, Elise. Burned, not shredded. They've set them on fire.
Either or.
Either or.
No, I thought it was
cartoonish levels of criminalization.
Yeah, like, this is cartoonish.
They fed them to a
lit
shark.
Their cigars in the actual trial too. I just lean back.
And look, for one, perjury is like one of the worst things you can do in a court of law. And if this is like confirmed to be true, Activision is going to pay hard for it, which is like they should, because if you've seen anything else in this lawsuit, it's absolutely disgusting what's been going on there. And that's also why I say, judging by what we've heard from people at Activision, what we've seen from this lawsuit, from coming out of this lawsuit, their response to it, I 100% believe that this is true. That very much seems like something that the Activision Blizzard, like HR and associated team would do to try to get out of this, because they're basically, their response to the lawsuit is basically being, no, that didn't happen. We're not going to do anything about it. Also, we're going to pull in some union busting firms.
Yeah,
So,
they sure did. They sure did do that, huh?
yeah. So I hope they burn.
Just like those documents, huh?
And I hope that the great people that do work at Activision, because there are a lot of great people that do, who aren't like the HR department and the higher ups and the other people involved in this case. I hope they find good employment and use their skills where they can.
Absolutely. Well said. Cadaver Coon in the chat said they toasted marshmallows over them. The burned documents.
It feels like someone at Activision Blizzard said, "Well, we can't get in more trouble," and then someone's like, "Wait, perjury?
Yeah.
What's perjury?
It's when I said in our Discord when this news came out is I'm assuming that they crunched the numbers and were like, hey, we're gonna be in more trouble if these documents are put out to the public or used against them, which also is the extremely like messed up thing of like, oh well, we could break the law to prevent this evidence.
Justice system.
Yeah, and that would be less of a strike against us than us actually getting whatever is in these documents. Which, hey y'all,
what a country!
It's pretty bad.
I just think it's amazing that a plot point from Succession became reality so quickly. like how it happened so fast. Like Simpsons is predicting things like 10 years from now,
Exactly.
but Succession was like in 365 days time, a company will actually do this and destroy incriminating documents.
It's yeah, it's a absolutely wild timeline that we live in.
And this is not a devil's advocate statement, but truly, I hear that and I wonder, like, why do you even have documents? You know what I mean? Like, if you're truly trying to, like, if something
why
like
are
this
you
is
keeping these on record? Yeah.
Right. It's like, why, like, you clearly don't want this out there. Why even have the paper trail? It's for, like, obviously it should not happen, period. But, like, why are you even keeping a record of, you know what I mean? Like,
potentially blackmail the people that have information in that record.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, yes.
I hate that. That's I'm like, yeah,
right.
that does make sense actually.
That's what these things kind of exist for a lot of the time.
Yeah,
I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
I'm very much with you though, Lisa. I do believe this will shake out and they will be found guilty of this stuff, and certainly in the, what do they call it, the court of public opinion, they already are.
They're eating crow on this one.
Yeah, and deservedly so.
100%. Going back to the chat, Dan is a nerd redeemed to give a point to Elise for unless you're an ace attorney in which perjury is an everyday thing. Exactly. And Dan Sainarsan also gives a point. Your Honor, we have a sworn statement from the defendant. It's a piece of colored paper written in crayon with just the word "nuh-uh."
The word "nuh-uh." Very powerful.
Like the Benchwarmers I am 12 with the $20 bill tucked into it.
Exactly. Chris, your topic is up next. What would you like to talk about for your first topic of the show?
I guess I'll just go do the thing that I'm supposed to and talk about Yakuza.
Yeah, that's a franchise you like.
Yeah. So, going from the real life world of cartoonish villainy and ridiculous pyramid schemes and money laundering and crime to the fake one that's based off the very real one, let's talk about the Yakuza series and why NetEase would like to go ahead and poach Toshiro Nagoshi from the company. So just for some base context, NetEase is a large Chinese former publisher and now developer of video games. They most importantly are like, they're the company that does all of Activision Blizzard. Hey, their stuff in China. So like they run the servers for Warcraft and Overwatch and et cetera and so forth. But they started making games a couple years back, and we actually talked about on the show a while ago that China in general is like, there is a directive or a hope to get more internal game development done inside the country to have more Chinese exported games, which, because games is there's a lot of money in them.
They make money,
That's why Saudi Arabia bought SNK.
God, that's so wild. I forgot about that.
I also forgot about that.
Never forget, baby.
Gotta make for a great next versus Capcom game, though. I'll tell you what.
Oh god damn it. Okay. NetEase decided, hey, we need to get someone. Who can we possibly afford? Hey, everyone that's under a major contract with a reputable, powerful company, we're never getting our hands on them, because no way in fucking hell are we gonna get Hideo Kojima or Todd Howard or whatever the fuck. They're Balrog's locked in for the next 35 years. So who's a company who's terrible at managing assets? Sega. So they looked over at Sega and saw that Toshiro Nagoshi's contract with Sega is coming up in a couple years. Toshiro Nagoshi, also known as Toshi Nagoshi, if people are familiar with him from his earlier work, Super Monkey Ball. That's right, y'all motherfuckers forgot that the Yakuza guy is the Super Monkey Ball guy.
How could you
I
ever
forgot
forget?
this until I think it was Gamescom. They talked about Super Monkey Ball, and he showed up, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Monkey
yeah.
Ball," and I was like, "Oh right, you did that too."
It's
you
his
weird
favorite
man.
franchise he's ever worked on.
That's buck wild.
He's so
Also,
fucking
the
weird.
new Super Monkey Ball game will include Hello Kitty. Also, I can't remember his name. The main
Morgana
character, Morgana, and the main character from the Yakuza franchise.
Yeah.
Does
And
not
didn't they
surprise me at
announce like a Monster Rancher thing today too? I want to say there's some like eye stalk monster
This
thing.
has
they just
become
announced.
like the instead of a Smash Brothers like everybody's here, it's a Sega everybody's here in a monkey ball.
Everybody that Nagoshi vaguely ran into in an alley is here.
It's here and in a ball.
Exactly.
the way God intended. Okay. Anyway, NetEase and Tencent are working together to poach game developers. That's their whole thing right now. They want game developers, and they targeted Nagoshi. I saw a decent amount of people saying that like that's who you're going for. And this is, if I am in the position of NetEase or a position of anyone that wants to start a game developing company, someone like Nagoshi is actually the perfect target because he's made 2 franchises in his career. Both are fucking bangers.
Yeah.
Both got way too many entries. Both sold like crazy. And in the twilight years of this man's career, he took Yakuza and the action adventure beat 'em up crime franchise and said, "What if this was just fucking Dragon Quest?" And then he made the best fucking JRPG in the last decade. This guy's bulletproof, baby. And I think the big thing here, and Zach even pinged me when this was posted, is like, does this mean the end of Yakuza? Yes, it abso-fucking-lutely does.
You think so?
Okay. I don't think that they will stop making the games. I think the drop in quality from the next one will be a free fall because a huge part of why I've talked about this before, why I think Yakuza is so successful is that Sega let Nagoshi do whatever the hell he wanted. They said, "Here is your blank check budget. Go out and make the games. We need Sega exclusive branded games." And he said, "You fucking got it, dude." He was the one that insisted on the arcades existing in game with old Sega games. He was the one who made all the weird crossovers with Persona and shit happen. Like this has been his child. I know there's other people that have worked on it. The composer has been with him the entire time. There's a couple of people that have been with Nagoshi the entire process. But at the end of the day, it is his franchise. He is the one that is friends with actual members of the Yakuza. That is not a fucking joke. I think that they will do an okay job of continuing the franchise in its JRPG state. Possibly they might end up going back to the original state, but Yakuza as we know it, which is like a perfect balance of an absolutely wacky world and characters and bullshit, but a really well written, gripping story, is something that I think it takes a very, very skilled director to do. And not to bring him up again, but like Kojima is also a person who's good at this. It takes a certain skill set. And I don't think that Sega of all companies is not going to be able to find one very easily to fill what are incredibly weirdly shaped but big shoes.
Very well said.
Too many feet.
Very well said. And Vic the Foxy Gamer in chat redeems a point, saying, "I'm holding my end of the twin mold deal. Even if a bit let."
Late.
A bit
Bit
less,
late.
I
Okay.
Oh.
Folks, that's a reference to our Pokemon Nuzlocke series. Tune in to that every Monday night on twitch.tv/SafeDataTeam. David, you're up next. What would you like to talk about for your first topic of the show?
Let's keep it in Japan and talk about Xbox at Tokyo Game Show.
Hey.
So Tokyo Game Show is coming up very soon, and Xbox has said that once again this year they will have exclusive news at Tokyo Game Show. This is not the first year they've done this.
No.
They believe they did it last year, and last year the exclusive news was, hey, we added some Japan stuff for Flight Sim.
Yes.
Are you happy? Cool. I do think we're going to take 2 routes on this one.
Okay.
Crazy route. Chris route on this one.
Okay.
There are some rumors that Kojima and Xbox have signed or will be signing an exclusive deal for an Xbox exclusive game. Could they show that at Tokyo Game Show with Kojima? And would that be an amazingly intelligent move to really just push for the Japanese people to finally accept Xbox into their homes and actually go buy one, despite there being none available? Yes. Is that what's going to happen? Absolutely not.
No, probably
no
not.
way.
Probably
for a few
not.
reasons. One, that project is way too new, I believe. Could be wrong. They made Death Stranding with like 80 people and a bunch of like contract workers, so it's potentially possible that they shove out a new game in when Death Stranding come out, 2019. Is that right? I think so.
Sounds
That's
right.
fine.
Yeah.
Could they shove out a game in like 3 years and do a trailer for this one? Probably, depending on what the size was. But I still can't imagine that being it. What I do imagine this being is a real big push for xCloud and Game Pass. So Japan has some of the best internet infrastructure in the world. I believe the only other country that really comes close or beats them is probably South Korea. But like, you can be there. Your cell phone gets better internet than most houses in the United States. Like, just hands down, for reasonable prices. So that is the perfect market to be like, hey, mobile gaming's huge in Japan. Why don't you play your mobile games, except their console games, on your phone or on your tablet or on whatever other device you're using? I think that makes the most sense to me, and I think this is going to be like, hey, xCloud, they finished their beta pretty much. It's basically done in the US. Hey, this is the date xCloud is available in Japan if it's not already available. Hey, we've got some cool new JRPGs and stuff on Game Pass, either internationally or just for Japan. Of like, hey, we've got Yakuza Like a Dragon, we've got Dragon Quest, we've got whatever other Persona 5 or whatever they can end up pulling out of their war chest of like, hey, this is what you can play, and you can play them on the go. And hey, guess what? It also looks better than anything you're going to play on the Switch, which is also hugely popular there. So I think that would make the most sense, and it would make the most sense for them to do a push like that at a Tokyo Game Show because it is very explicitly a Japanese conference. So I really think they're going to do it. If it's not this one, hopefully in the next year or two they do something like that. But I'd be shocked if they didn't make a move like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Part of me says I don't think that's going to make a huge difference either way with like a huge swath of the Japanese market. But
I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm just saying it makes sense.
You know what? You got me on that one. However, first time on the show, first topic of the show, Tony, what would you like to talk about?
I'm going to bring it to the Western Hemisphere. I'm going to talk about this quote from Neil Druckmann about crunch, especially in response to some of the stuff Naughty Dog was dealing with during the to give a little bit of context. Last of Us Part 2 was delayed, and oftentimes delay is by nature of, hey, we need more time to work on this. During a lot of our current times, of course, delays are more so as far as like the COVID era, delays are more so just because it is difficult to be as efficient right now in some ways. So that's not it's a different situation. But Last of Us, the delay was more just akin to, hey, we need more time to make this the way we want it. And reports later then came out that yes, they got more time, but instead of breathing room, that led to the team just continuing to crunch throughout the additional development time. And so, of course, Naughty Dog ought to address this because crunch is a bad thing. Burnout is a bad thing. These are very frequent topics in the zeitgeist today. So I'm not saying anything new there as far as, hey, burnout's bad. But it obviously is. But so Neil Druckmann spoke to this idea of crunch, and I'll read his quote here just so I make sure I'm giving him appropriate credit for his words. He says, everybody has a different definition of what crunch means. We find that there is no one solution that fits everybody. Everybody has a unique situation that we might need to address. And as is on paper, I do agree with that. Like, I do agree with that. Crunch means a different thing to different people. Certain people are willing to, I guess I should phrase it as certain people are willing to take on more burnout than others. Has nothing to do with passion or dedication to the craft. Some people just are okay with suffering more than others, which again, not a good thing. Some people just tolerate it more. So he is correct in that the situations do differ. My only fear is that when I, extrapolating from that quote is, I think it's really easy for somebody to say there's no one solution and then therefore not offer any.
Exactly.
So I want to give benefit of the doubt, and he goes on to say more things about Naughty Dog's approach, and so I await when they announce, because they ought to, since these things were brought up about their culture, they ought to also publicly announce what they're doing to counteract it. So I await to see what their plan is to work with it. Bottom line, as trite as it is to say, crunch is bad, burnout is bad, and some solution is needed. You can't just say, we hear you, or boy, that's complicated, and then leave it at that. Like, you do have to actually enact a strategy. So I agree with what he's saying here. I just hope that leads to actively finding multiple solutions, since there is no single solution, because that is true, rather than, just leaving it on the table and just saying, we couldn't figure it out,
It's literally, when I read this article, that was exactly what my mindset was, of just like, yeah, it's one thing to say, hey, this situation is complicated, but if you're doing that and then saying, well, it's a dang shame we can't think of any solutions or try to do anything about it, it's like,
right.
Okay, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
It is
normally get away
complicated.
with-
It is complicated. He's not wrong, but like,
Yeah.
to just be like, we'll never solve it is like.
But normally you can say it's complicated and then just like just hand service, just like get it away. But
Totally.
he said it's complicated. Not gonna do anything about that though. Not my
Yeah, it
problem.
literally was.
It's
It,
like,
it was.
no, that's implied, sir. You don't have to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe one quote in the article is that he's never thought about like unionization or something, and I'm like,
Yeah. It's
you're the head of a
Sure
game
about
studio.
This
You're
was-
lying.
This was, I believe,
Hold on.
I believe
know
it was
you
a
took history
interview
class
with
at
Game
some point,
Informer,
motherfucker.
and whoever it was that was interviewing them was like, "Hey, what is yours like? A lot. There's been like a increased calls for unionization in the games industry. What do you think about this?" And they were like, "I never thought about it." I was like, "Oh, that's a really bad look, dog. Like, just say something. Just say something."
Yeah.
Promise you, every studio head has thought about unionization and is absolutely terrified of it.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at Activision.
But also, like, they're all reptile people, so like, if you spray enough water on them, they forget about it, and then you can just ply them with push this in your interview, and they go, ah.
Yeah. It's and this also comes like on the back of, I saw a quote today from the Bug Snacks dev, Young Horses. That team, and obviously, a very different scale of project and team size.
Game of the year,
Totally.
Bug Snacks. I'm
Totally.
there.
X, love that game. Love
Bunger,
that game.
best character, best original character of all time.
one of like 5 games we've talked about already that I've done videos on. Framework, check it out. That team some time ago, I don't remember exactly when, said like, hey, we're gonna try 4-day weekdays, 32 hours, and just see how it goes. And they just announced today, like, yeah, we're gonna stick with it. It didn't change our productivity at all. People seem way happier, and we're just gonna stick with it. So like, these solutions are out there. They're doable. Like I said, again, I acknowledge the scale of Young Horses versus Naughty Dog is very different. But it's not like it's impossible.
Right.
Just scale it. To me, that just seems like something you could scale up and at least try out.
That's
Like, what,
that's exactly it. Is they could try it.
So that's like it remains to be seen, what Naughty Dog will do in the face of this stuff, and I certainly hope good steps are taken. I don't want to just like dismiss it and assume they won't do anything, because I would like for them to do something, and that applies to any workforce in the world, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's see what happens.
Well, the people in the chat are a fan. Vic the Foxy Gamer gives Tony a point because they like your name. So there you go.
I appreciate it.
Vic's not here for chaos tonight.
I don't care about you. You didn't make any valid points, but you got a cool name.
Yeah,
Jake.
exactly.
Hey, I'll take it. Thanks. I like my name.
Sabella says, "Careful with the reptile people jokes, Chris."
CEOs aren't people.
Before Chris gets killed by the reptile people, at least what would you like to talk about for your second topic of the show?
I've had that coming for years.
We're gonna see a little red
Let's talk
dot. on your
about,
camera.
let's talk about Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Yeah, okay. I'm excited.
This is the new game from Firaxis, specifically the XCOM team. And what we thought going into this, until like yesterday,
Yes.
was this was going to be Marvel XCOM, and it kind of is.
It kind of is.
We got a gameplay reveal. I believe it was yesterday, and the gameplay reveal shows it is a grid-based tactics game with Marvel characters, but it's a much smaller, from what we saw, a much smaller grid, and it has cards, which is interesting. There have been a couple games that have done card-based tactics games.
I was going to say, most notably, introducing card mechanics to games that we already like. At least you can speak to the Kingdom Hearts game, which I forget the actual title of.
Memories.
Yeah,
Chain of Memories.
Games of fucking Bob.
Hearts game.
What? No, at least the PS2 port.
No, it's
The PS2 port is worse than the GameCube version. It's terrible.
It's great.
Yeah, so there have been games that have mixed cards and like grid-based tactics. I can think of like Feria and Duelist with the Y, which were two like competitive trading or collectible card games that used a grid-based, or I think Feria had a hex-based system.
Okay.
And they were received pretty well, but I don't think they take off. This is not that. This is not a competitive game. This isn't Magic. This isn't trying to be the next Hearthstone. This is trying to be an evolution or a splinter from XCOM. And I think it's interesting. I know some of us here don't love cards. I think that they can be good in certain situations. I'm not a huge fan of deck building myself, but especially when you have a goal and you can kind of fix the RNG in your favor, I think cards can be really fun. They can make the moment-to-moment like strategizing a lot more interesting because you have this like random element that you have to take in every single turn. I think that's really cool. They've also said the permadeath isn't going to be a thing, which is another interesting tactic that they're doing here.
I feel like that is probably a thing of like Marvel being like, listen, you can't kill Iron Man in your video game.
Yeah, that's right.
It's fucking heroes.
It's almost definitely coming up from on high. Fire Emblem, a couple, like I think in Awakening, started doing a you can choose. And the thing about permadeath is that no one wants their people to die, but playing to save everyone or playing to make sure no one dies is a lot more interesting tactically than letting people die on the battlefield. And it's like most people who play Fire Emblem won't let their people die. They'll just restart, or in the later games use the rewind.
Yeah.
And I think those are really good systems because they let you do the tactics of making sure everyone survives without the punishment of having someone die. Marvel's not doing that. Marvel is letting people die, seemingly with little or minimal punishment, which I don't think is a great decision. Obviously, we'll have to see what comes out of it. I do trust the XCOM team. I wasn't a huge fan of XCOM. It's just a little bit too much for me, and the difference in tactics I could never get used to. But I do trust them to make a good game, and I like the Avengers. Like I like Marvel. Who doesn't? Which means that this has a really solid base to go off of. I hope they do something interesting with it.
Yeah, personally, I know a lot of people are having mixed feelings about the cards in the game. I'm still very excited. I think the gameplay reveal was good. I wish I actually saw more. I wish it was like a 15-minute game reveal instead of a 6-minute game reveal.
Yeah,
because there's a lot that I'm like, how does this work? But how does this work? How does this work? But
I feel about the complaint about the character designs look very mobile.
That's.
They do.
Kind of true, but
They do.
Yes, but I liked them more than the
Actual Avengers
Crystal
game?
Dynamics
Yeah.
Avengers game. So like, I like them better than that. You know.
What about the last Marvel versus Capcom?
Well, okay. I mean, that's a whole other universe. Like,
Did people play that game?
cell shade them,
No,
and you're good to go. That's what you need to do. It'll always look good. Cell shading
Agreed.
always looks good.
Agreed.
I don't think visuals are that important in a tactics game, so
I agree
Yeah,
with that.
that's
I
true.
agree with that.
I'm not pressed.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to look at Ghost Rider's butt though?
Want to see the steam rising off of it?
Exactly.
He's a fire skeleton man.
Flaming skull, flaming butt. Come on.
No.
Chris, it looks like the lizard people have not gotten to you yet, so let's hear about your second topic before it's too late.
Banging down my door. You know what? I'm gonna do something that it's just so out of turn for us. I'm gonna talk about Halo.
Wow. Okay.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So we got more news on Halo Infinite, a game that has been coming out since I was in middle school. Halo Infinite it's got a release date this time, and this one won't be pushed. Maybe we're not making any promises.
I think they got
December
this one.
8th. December 8th, it comes out with no campaign. Or sorry, no campaign co-op.
No co-op.
No co-op. No co-op
Campaign
in the
is
campaign,
there.
and none of the Forge mode.
Yes.
I will say the Forge mode coming out is actually a very common thing in Halo. Happened with Reach. I think it happened with 3 as well. So this is not the first time that's happened.
You mean coming out after release?
Coming out, yeah, like a few months later,
right. Just making sure.
or with Reach. I don't think it came out till the first DLC pass.
I think you're right. I think it was later, like considerably later.
But y'all, I am very worried about this game that I'm not going to purchase or play. Because
Really?
I mean, maybe on
It's free on Game Pass. Come
Maybe.
on. Also,
I don't give a shit about John Master Chief and his bullshit.
I was gonna say, Chris, you don't even have to play Game Pass. Buy Game Pass to play the multiplayer. The multiplayer is just straight up free.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about that. So originally, when we were told it was being pushed, we thought this is like what 2019 now. We were told that it's going to be we're going to release just the multiplayer, and then we'll do the campaign, and then we'll do everything else later on. And then that got pushed, mostly because of COVID, and that's not their fault. And then it was going to be everything's coming out at the same time. We did it, video games. And now I think there might have been a third step in there somewhere. But now it's okay. You're getting the multiplayer and the campaign on one day. Co-op and other stuff gonna have to come later.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, as we've discussed in the show, crunch is an absolute bastard, and game developing is hard, and COVID is hard.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think that this is not a good sign for a game that has been in development for this long. And I also think that it's more of a sign of someone in the chain of Microsoft. I'm not sure if this is at like a corporate level or a high in the game development cycle level, is like, this game needs to go out because we need Halo to be out now. Halo has been not out for too long, and that's a problem for shareholders. That's a problem for console sales. Not that they worry about that because people can't buy enough of them, but it looks bad as far as optics go for the entire company, as in the game development and publishing segment, and we can't let that happen. No. So that being said, a lot of the stuff we've seen of Halo Infinite looks very good.
Yeah.
I think a big complaint that a lot of people have been saying of this in general is that it looks very derivative of Halo, which is a weird thing to say about a game in its own franchise. But it looks like they're pulling the Dark Souls 3 approach, which is, here's the greatest hits. Don't ask us for. Stop asking us for new things.
Greatest hits and Craig.
And Craig.
And Craig. And I think the biggest problem is that, so this is supposed to be the Halo. This is the one that we're going to update and keep up with and keep working on.
Yes.
And I think that makes sense with Halo rolling content out later. I think it's a very bad look when the content that you're rolling out later is the content that was supposed to be there day one, instead of additional content.
I agree with you. For me personally, I actually wish they would just release the multiplayer.
I think that would be a much better idea.
And wait until the co-op was ready and then drop the campaign with that.
Okay,
in spring.
That's the one that really bothers me, because Forge, I don't really care. I know people care. People care a lot about making their own stuff. It's a huge part of what Halo is. I remember being in high school and playing Halo 3 all day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it, like, the sign of we don't have co-op ready is rough. Co-op, I mean, I know it's tough, but like, is it that much harder?
I have no concept. I can't actually
I
speak on that.
I wouldn't know, but
It
like
depends
it
on where
feels
their
wrong.
issues are. If their
Right.
issues are with the balance of co-op, or
It could be
because I think
rendering
they
double-
let you do up to 4 people now instead of 2 like it used to be.
Really?
I think it's been
Yeah,
hasn't it been that way since Reach? Or no, since
Yeah,
Halo 4.
I believe you're right, Chris. It's been that way for a bit, but
oh, wow.
yeah, it depends whether their issues are like balancing issues or are there performance issues. Are they only having issues with local co-op and they don't want to release local along with online?
Hmm.
It could be a number of those, and they haven't given us enough details to make an actual like guess as to what the issue is.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, I'm still excited to jump into the multiplayer this December, but it is a bummer. It's also unfortunate this game is coming out in the exact like same window as Cyberpunk did last year. So hopefully, I don't think they're going to have Cyberpunk issues, but
Dangerous step. Oh, was that article not in here? How they're not getting the next gen versions out this year?
no, I just was like, whatever.
We've talked about it too much. It's
Yeah.
got too much lip service in this fucking
I
show.
wonder how much face they can save if they just like really get out ahead and just talk about like future plans with this. Like I don't know how specific, like explicitly they've talked about it, but like when you think about the name and what they're doing with this and splitting the campaign from the multiplayer, it's clearly like they're releasing this as a platform, like something to be
Yes.
ongoing. Like the next, like there won't be, in my opinion, I don't expect to see another Halo game. I just expect to see here's the new thing being added to Infinite as the new campaign. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I wonder if they just get out in front and just make that clear and just flat out say, listen, this is what it's going to be over the coming, 5, 6, 10 years, whatever. Like if that would ease some people's like, because obviously people are not happy that it's going to arrive missing these features. So I wonder how much they could ease that if they just explain, listen, this is coming, and then just like here's basically a roadmap in vague terms right now, but like as far as what we're wanting to do, because it's so clear that's what they want to do. They just haven't, and to my knowledge, haven't explicitly said that yet.
And it's the problem too, where hey, we're all pretty quote unquote hardcore gamers. Like we're tuned into the news. Joe Schmo who hasn't played a Halo since I don't know Halo 3 is like, well, I got the new Xbox, whatever. Let me download it. Let me play the new Halo, and they're like. They have
what the fuck?
They have they have their friend over that night who
Yeah.
their buddy Sloan, who they haven't hung out with in 10 years. I don't know why I picked Sloan as a name.
Joe Schmo and Sloan.
You are giving this character so much backstory.
Yeah, they're like come on
Comes
over,
home
Sloan.
from a long
We're gonna
day at the
play
brick
Halo.
factory.
And they can't play together, and it's like, wow, I hate Halo now.
I know that's a lot of people's tradition with Halo is when the campaign comes out, they play co-op.
Play
So
co-op,
I imagine
exactly.
there are going to be a lot of people that just wait.
There
on this
are
one.
very few worse games I can imagine to not have your co-op ready for on launch than Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. David, what would you like to talk about? Oh, sorry, really quick. The chat.
Vic took a point away from
Vic,
the lizard
Vic has
people.
taken away a point from you on behalf of the lizard people of the gaming industry.
Gotta say, Vic being on half of the lizard people, not surprising.
Yeah. They can't see red, the lizard people.
Don't start this. We can't. We're crossing the streams too much, too.
Exactly. David, what would you like to talk about for your second topic of the show?
I guess I'll talk about the title topic. Since no one
Somebody's
else
got
has
to,
yet.
or else I look like a liar.
The title topic of the show being a day off Twitch. Total viewers on Twitch down from 4.5 to 3.5 million yesterday. So this requires a hefty amount of backstory.
Yeah.
So basically, for the past, I don't know, what would you say, like a month, maybe a little more?
I think the origin of like the movement has been like a month, maybe 5 weeks.
Okay, yeah, I think a little more of a month. There's been a lot of issues with people performing like hate raids on primarily like POC streamers or LGBTQ plus streamers, but like they've basically a group of people that are making a bunch of dummy accounts, raiding with them and posting absolutely horrible things in chat for all of these people. So for the past month and change, a bunch of streamers have had to deal with getting raided a bunch. I know a couple that I follow were raided like a handful of times every week. Like that's how often this was happening. This week, one of our mods was even saying like, hey, people have been doing it while streams are offline and then clipping they're screenshotting the chat and sending it to Twitch to get those people banned.
Mhm.
It's all shitty, stupid, racist bullshit stuff that's been happening. And Twitch really hasn't done anything to prevent it from happening. So all they have really done was post a message on Twitter that was like, hey, we realize this is happening and we're going to do something to fix it. But that's it. That's all we got. We didn't get timelines. We didn't get steps. We didn't get things they're thinking about doing or testing, or, hey, we're working with creators. It sure as hell seems like they're not, because I haven't heard a peep from any creators that have been hate rated that are like, hey, Twitch reach out to me and they're working with me on fixing this stuff. It'll be great. Haven't seen a single one of those. So from the outside looking in, Twitch ain't doing shit about this. Whether they are or not, can't confirm, but sure as hell doesn't look like they are doing literally anything about it. So over the past couple weeks, it's been organized that yesterday a bunch of people were boycotting both creators and viewers Twitch streams, and it looked to have done about a little less than 25% impact on total Twitch views yesterday, which is honestly pretty fucking big. Going from 4.5 to 3.5 million, that's a hefty chunk of advertising revenue that Twitch did not get. So my hope is that this is enough to make Twitch realize, even if they've been working on it the whole time, giving them the benefit of the doubt, that they realize this is the problem, they're working on it very hard. They've got people, this is an issue where Crunch would probably be okay, when your people are getting harassed and in some cases getting doxxed and stuff. So like, this is one of those issues where I'm like, maybe Crunch would be okay here because people are actually being impacted in real life. But like, show that you're doing something, even if like,
at the very least,
I can't imagine having this happening.
The people who have, organized this movement, organized yesterday's, hashtag ADayOffTwitch, literally like their number one demand is at least start a conversation with the people who maybe not even the ones who are leading the movement, but the ones who are being affected by this, just to say like, hey, what can we do to help you?
Absolutely. And I cannot believe that Twitch is not disabled rating. Cannot fucking believe they haven't just turned that off. Like, that is absolutely wild to me that you have tens or hundreds of people that are doing this with either bots or secondary accounts frequently every day. It's happening, and they haven't just turned off rating and been like, hey, sorry, this is a mechanic that is not being used as we had intended. And we realize there is a positive impact of rating, but right now the risks are higher than the rewards, so we're turning it off. Cannot fucking believe they have not done that. And just put out a post that was like, hey, people are using this incorrectly. We're working on a fix. Until we do that, raids are off. Like, that's an easy thing. That is, unless they don't have the functionality in Twitch, which would not surprise me. But like, turn it off. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why they haven't at least done that, let alone talking about it. It's wild to me. I think every person that is angry about this is totally validated in being angry and are correct. And a big fuck you to all the people that are actually doing it, like that are rating people. Fuck off. Find better things to do with your time. Go play a video game.
No, they hate those too.
Go play one instead of watching one. Yeah,
because they're all PC woke culture or whatever the fuck buzzwords.
Or just watch a video game. Just stop being a dick. It's not hard.
Yeah.
But you have to go out of your way to do
David,
this.
they could be a dick and watch video games at the same time.
One of the things that speaking of like easy steps Twitch could take, one of the things they've requested, the people leading the movement against Twitch right now, not against Twitch, but you know what I mean. They were like, hey, make it so you can't have 3 accounts linked to one email.
Yeah.
That's
another easy thing.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That seems
I didn't either.
Wait.
Wild.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Normally you get like
one account per email.
This email's already in use. Use a different one. Like, yeah, that's
you can make
strange.
3 to 1 email. It's such a
I think
bad.
you could do more than 3. I thought 3 is what they wanted limited to.
Oh, maybe I don't know, but I was just like,
why do you need 3?
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I get having like for creators out there having like a business one linked to your same email and then a personal
Totally,
one.
but I
like,
just
it
make
too.
it. I have separate
That's
emails.
legit it.
I have separate emails.
That's the
y'all.
only use case here.
No.
Why?
You need one for personal, one for your own stream, and then one so you can creep on bathtub streams. Twitch knows their demographic, folks.
Okay, whatever. 3
is
is
my
fine. Right
bathtub
now,
alt.
there's no limit, which is also stupid. Like, go in and
Yeah,
just
fuck
be like,
wow.
hey, we're eliminating accounts past the 3rd one based on created date. And if you don't store that, Twitch, you're fucking morons.
Yeah. It's,
Like,
Sevilla notes that says big Tumblr energy, and yes, it does.
yeah. Yeah.
Do I don't want to be like glass, half empty guy, but like, does anyone else look like, obviously, like it still puts a dent in him and hopefully sent a message, but does anyone look at it went from 4.5 mil to 3.5 mil and just go like, really? That's it? Only like 25% of people pulled back,
25% to a company as large as Twitch in the media space is
for sure.
Right. I'm not saying it wasn't
the
a
one
dent,
day. It's the
but
one day of 1 week.
when I look at it, like, yes, it does. That is a significant dent to a company. But when I look at just like the numbers of that, meaning like, I mean, I realize I'm extrapolating data here probably more than I ought to based on what information I have. But like, to me, that's saying there's a big issue and 1 out of every 4 people decided it was a big enough issue to do something about.
Mhm.
The other 3 out of 4 didn't. You know what I mean?
I would say not as many people as we think, because we're all involved in Twitch space. We
Sure.
know about it, but I think a lot of the average person didn't know this was happening.
All right. I would hope that would be
enough.
the reason, because like I said, I don't want to be like Mr. Negative. Like, I look at that and I'm like, I feel like obviously it hurt him, but I was like, I feel like it could have hurt him more.
Yeah. I mean, losing 1 million viewers in a day is a lot. It's actually more for Twitch than I would say for a standard ratings company, because Twitch operates primarily on subscriptions and tipping / donations to like drive engagement and social revenue. And if my company puts out an episode of a television show 1 week, and the next week we get 25% of the viewership, we lose 1 million viewers, I'm fired.
Yeah.
is what happens there.
Yeah.
Moving on, just because we're running a little late, Tony, final topic of the show. What would you like to talk about to bring us home?
So kind of just keeping along the same thread. I think let's talk about these people who are departing from Twitch to YouTube. You had your Tim the Tapman and your Dr. Lupos, etc., who are moving over. I don't have too much to say on this actual topic, except to say that a lot of those announcements happened during a day off Twitch, which, boy, is that one of the most tone-deaf things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, get the bag, as they say, but of all the days to announce that stuff, like, oof, that really left a sour taste in my mouth. Let's just try to be a little more, smart about when we're saying these things. And it's certainly not going to be the last creator you see move to YouTube or I was about to say to Mixer, but no one's moving to Mixer anymore. But to your, let's say, your Facebook gamings, right? Like
Vimeo open stream. Let's go.
I know somebody in the chat earlier said Daily Motion. I was like, no.
Daily Motion OTT is another one. Yeah,
dude. Well, listen, all those hot tub streamers, what's her name? Whatever, Fox, who kept getting banned. Daily Motion, I guarantee, will host your stuff. Guarantee they're okay with it. Like that, it's that weird dichotomy of like, hey, good for you for getting a sweet deal. It's like the Rogan Spotify thing, right? It's like, not really a terribly big fan of what you do, but like, good for you on like pulling something like that off. It's the same thing here. It's like, maybe I don't care for your content, but hey, good for you. Maybe don't announce it during a Twitch walkout day. Like, little tone deaf. I also like bringing up anytime it's relevant that Courage and I went to college together and were editing partners in a couple classes. Super nice guy. I don't like have dirt on him or anything, except to say he has not returned any texts of mine since he got super big.
Wow.
So come on, Jack. What are you doing?
More like coward, am I right? Got him, folks.
Yeah. No, I can at least vouch for him being a decent person. having known him during a time when most awful things tend to happen in someone's life, or they tend to do awful things, truly I can vouch for like him having not done horrible things like that, which is good.
Oh god. Catching up with the chat really quick, Rob gives a point to Tony because bump gamers indeed, Rob.
Bump them.
At Pessler 7 gives a point. I believe this was to David. I missed it before, with just a little emote of Black Santa. Yeah. And
That's just a highlight.
That's just a highlight, Zach.
That's a
it's a
highlight.
highlight. Oh, then screw me. However, Sibylla does give a point to David, though, because they haven't even turned raids off. What the hell? Exactly.
Is the ad revenue from raids that good?
I mean, you don't get any money from raids. It just keeps people
No,
watching.
no. Twitch.
It
Because,
doesn't.
Like, when they
I
bounce,
don't
if you bounce 30 people
believe-
into a thing, do they all have to watch an ad?
They might.
I don't believe so.
They might.
Could be wrong.
Well,
But
sounds
even
like a
so-
workaround.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, even so, as a product manager, turn that shit off. If
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like, no,
Exactly.
I'm good.
It seems like a simple fix. There's several simple fixes that could make things a lot better, and them refusing to do it because, assumably, profits is, hey, that's a bad look. But folks, that's going to do it for this week's show, which does in fact mean Tony, Chris, and Elise, it's time to go home and become family, folks, because this week's winner is David. David, are you ready for your minute to win it?
Sure.
David, please take it away.
Listen, everyone, for the past 5 years, I have been saying that Psychonauts 2 would be a great game. There were many doubters, there were many haters, many people that didn't even think it would come out ever. I just gotta say, y'all suck. Y'all were wrong. I was right. That's it. Psychonauts 2 is great. Game of the year. Play it. It's on Game Pass, PC or Xbox, or buy it for PlayStation. They don't pay me, but they should.
They really should. They really should. Tim Schafer, return our emails.
Or Tim,
I
if you want to just send
that.
me,
Great game.
if you want to just send me one of those messenger bags, we can call it even.
Tim, have your people call our people.
Tim, we'll take the smallest amount of bribery.
But folks, that is going to do it for this week's stream. Once again, big round of applause for Tony Wilson for coming on the show. Tony, please tell us one more time about where people can find your work and what exactly it is that you do.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you all very much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I run a YouTube channel called Framework. Easiest way to get to it is by going to tinyurl.com/frameworkyt. It is a channel of critical video game essays, and when I say critical, I mean going deep and critiquing. I don't mean negative, because I make it a point to focus on the positive of games and try to highlight, as I say, sort of on the channel description, highlight the little things that make a big difference in your favorite game. So, try to find the thing that maybe people aren't talking about as much, but from a game that people are talking about, so that we can maybe try to think about it in a little bit of a different way. And like I said at the top, I learn something new every time I put one of those together. And one of my favorite things is to learn things and share them with others. So, yeah, please check that stuff out. We talked about, I swear, like 5, 6, 7 games that I've covered on the channel throughout the course of this show tonight. Psychonauts video, there's an Ace Attorney video, all sorts of fun stuff. Ace Attorney video is actually why I'm here. That's why
Yes.
Zach and I got in contact. Because I watched what you all did with playing a Great Ace Attorney, which I'm also a big fan of. So yeah, check that stuff out. I'm really proud of the work there, and I want to share it with more people. So please go ahead and check that out. Twitter account is @framework_video. My personal Twitter is @chaingunpope. There's no cool story behind that name. Just thought it sounded cool when I was like 15.
I mean, hey, it does sound cool. So you're right.
we appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. Folks, other things to look out this week on our end, we've got another episode, of course, of the Pokemon Heart Gold Randomizer Nuzlocke. Please go check that out on our YouTube, as well as 2 new episodes of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles with an actual lawyer, as mentioned by Tony. Again, who also has an excellent video on Ace Attorney and why Sherlock Holmes is such a big character in Japan, which influenced the making of that game. Other things to plug. Oh, importantly, if you are a member of our Discord, or more importantly, a member of our Patreon, this Saturday we are doing another one of our monthly community streams. So come hang out with us. We'll play games together. I believe this month the winning games are going to be Jackbox again, as well as Golf with Friends, and I believe it's Gartic Phone again. So be excited for that. That'll be Saturday from 3 to 7 p.m. Come and hang out with us, play some games, have a good time. And anything else to plug this week, folks?
In approximately 9 minutes, I'll be hanging out with our friends Subpixel for Local Chat, the second biggest podcast by Subpixel after, of course, Chasing Kojima, which is also a new episode out of.
Yes.
I don't know. My tweets for Chasing Kojima are funny. Fuck you.
They are.
Which also means in approximately 7 days, you can find David on Local Chat. But yeah, we'll be talking about some of the same things talked about here, as well as games we've been playing. It's Local Chat. A lot of y'all know what it is.
Yeah. A lot of crossover
Also-
on that one. Once again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, this has been Around the Monitor.
I guess I do this.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
You all did this.